This time I would like to call the Hardin County Board of Education meeting to order. And first of all, we have the Pledge of Allegiance, and I believe a young lady named Rachel is going to lead us in the pledge. You want to come up to the podium or in front or wherever you'd like. Y'all please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Rachel. And this young lady is a student where?
JTL.
JTL. All right, thank you. Hardin County Schools has lost some student and staffs in the last few months, and we'd like to take an opportunity to pause for a moment of silence remembering the following: Fred Pretty, a bus driver; Elijah Thornton, a North Hardin High School student; Hugo Guerrero, a Central Hardin student; Riley Razon, Central Hardin student; and Lila Walker, a North Hardin student. So just a moment of silence for them, please. All right, thank you. That's a lot of good people there, and that's, we think, kind of unusual, but hope that slows up some. That's, I know a lot of students will be missed, and the bus drivers, and everybody plays an important part in our school system. So, all right, number 3 is board commitments. Anyone have them up?
They're right there on the wall.
You want to read them?
I'll read them.
All right.
These are the Hardin County Schools Board team commitments. To improve our effectiveness, the Hardin County Board of Education commits to keep children first, listen, be prepared, be professional, demonstrate financial stewardship, represent the entire district and support district goals, support board decisions.
All right, thank you, Kay. Recognitions. John, you taking care of that?
Yes, sir, I surely will. You have a resolution in front of you. It's in your board packet. We have, last year our hashtag, our social media hashtag, and what we talked a whole lot about was make it count, hashtag HCS make it count. Well, so this year we kind of asked for suggestions on our new hashtag, and so we used our new website to garner some suggestions for that, and then we picked the top 10 and we put those top 10 out there asking for votes. We had probably 300 submitted, and we had over 700 people vote for the top 10, and so that was a resounding response. We were very pleased with that, and so winning with a pretty good majority of the vote was hashtag HCS leading the way, and we knew that for a couple of weeks, and we unveiled that at our faculty and staff get together back to school celebration last Tuesday. So that was a fun event, and so you've probably seen that on social media a bunch, our hashtag HCS leading the way. And so the awards that we'll be giving this school year are hashtag HCS leading the way awards. Last year they were Make It Count awards. This year they're leading the way awards. And these 3 people that were recognized tonight, Mr. Chairman, certainly do a great job of leading the way. First of all, we'd like to bring back up Rachel Ritchie. Rachel, as we said earlier, she's an 8th grade student at James T. Alton Middle School, and she has changed the lives of children in Vine Grove. When she was 9 years old, Rachel presented a plan to the Vine Grove City Council to create a park that was accessible for all children, especially those with disabilities. Her presentation included drawings, grant locations, projected cost evaluations, and her own research on the American Disability Act requirements. The Rachel's Fund for Everyone project was born. It was a community-oriented project designed to acquire funds for the purpose of constructing a playground for disabled and physically challenged children. She designed the park and raised the funds to construct it. 4 years later, her initial presentation to the Vine Grove City Council at the age of 13 She and her family will cut the ribbon on the Rachel's Fun for Everyone Park on August the 26th at the park in Vine Grove. We are proud of you, very proud of you. Pretty remarkable lady.
Congratulations.
What about Mom and Dad? I bet you didn't have anything to do with this. Congratulations to you.
Supporters.
Rachel's a pretty popular lady. We'll see her on the 26th. All right, next is Erica Wyatt. Erica, are you here? Come on up, Miss Erica. Erica is a 5th grade teacher at Creekside Elementary School, and she is an HCS Innovate Teacher Fellow. She is one of the, and what that means is, she's one of the district's leaders at incorporating the use of technology in all of her work. Her students can often be seen writing blog posts about math. They use their Chromebooks for authentic, engaging lessons. She has the ability to perfect the blended learning classroom. This summer, she planned and coordinated a day of professional learning for teachers at Creekside. This wasn't your typical teacher summer PD. Mrs. Wyatt recognizes the importance of culture inside the classroom, but also among the staff in her building. She knows the key to success is relationships. The first part of the professional development session included the Creekside staff teaching each other. She was able to help her colleagues find their strengths and their voices while facilitating an opportunity for them to shine and lead their peers. The faculty explored personality types and how they applied to the classroom and student relationships in the second part of her session. The person that nominated Mrs. Wyatt for this award says that she is one of the most inspiring individuals that she has ever known in her professional career. Thank you. We're very proud of you. And next, I'm going to ask the board if you can to come down and kind of surround our next guests, the Sicilian Bank. So we're going to give something to them, and they're going to give something to us. The Sicilian Bank is a true partner of the Hardin County Schools. The Sicilian Bank and its employees have always helped the district, its students, staff, and community when asked. There are countless signs on fences, on gymnasium walls, and in programs with the Sicilian Bank logo because of its generosity that help athletic and academic endeavors. At this Hardin County Board of Education meeting, the Sicilian Bank will present a check to the Board of Education to purchase the scoreboard for the gymnasium at the new Cecilia Valley Elementary School. The board, students, staff, and parents of Hardin County Schools definitely appreciate the stewardship of the Sicilian Bank. And here from the Sicilian Bank are Kimberly Puno, Courtney Hornback, and of course, the legend himself, Mr. Bob Owsley. So if you all could gather up front. Everybody scooch in. Yeah, we're gonna do this right. So.
In the back.
Terry, you get it. Okay, we good? Right. You all remember Ray Emery?
Yes, I did.
Daughter of the legendary John Emery?
Got it, thank you.
And Joe Emery, the more legendary Joe Emery. All right, thank you all very much. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all.
Yeah, there's the real check.
This is a real one.
I want to thank the Hardin County Board of Education. I came up here several months ago and hoping that we would receive a new building in Cecilia, and I think it's a beautiful building. I want you to come by and see it. Can't wait to get in and visit with it. And
You come anytime, Mr. Owsley.
see the principal and all the teachers.
We'll take you on a tour.
Thank you all.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
We
Mr.
might
Owsley.
step on out if we want to.
That'd be fun.
I want to say before you all leave that the Cecilia Bank, in the 40-some years that I've been associated with this district, has been probably the #1 supporter of Hardin County Schools. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Appreciate it. We have one more. It's not a Leading the Way award, but it should be probably a Leading the Way award. So the hashtag, as we said, was suggested by some 300 people. Yes, there were about 300 people responded to that. And so we kept track of who suggested what. And so Ms. Ramona Mayo, if you could come up. Ramona works in our Instructional Services Department. What we have for Ramona, we had door prizes donated by our business partners in the community for our door prizes for our back-to-school celebration. Well, 5 Stars submitted their door prize just a day late, and so we didn't get it given away, so we're giving that to Ramona. So very well deserved. She selected leading the way, and I think hers was lead the way, and maybe an ing got added to it somewhere along the way. So I think Diane Jacoby was responsible for that. So anyway, thank you so much, Ramona.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And I'm done, Mr. Chairman.
All right, while we're on recognitions, I think we have some new principals that I am not familiar with, and maybe some of the other board. I'd like to ask Terry to introduce the ones she sees, and if she misses you, stand up.
That's all right. If we would, if these folks will come forward. First, Mr. Hal Bender. He is the new principal at
He doesn't look old enough to be out of school.
Miss Meredith Weeper is the new principal of Creekside Elementary School. Tanya Corder is the new principal at North Hardin High School, and she is not present with us tonight. I believe they have some sporting events to take care of. We also have Miss Jennifer Burnham, who is our new title director, and takes care of all things title and leadership for our district, so we want to welcome her. We have an interim principal, Mr. Bobby Lewis. Come on up, Mr. Lewis.
Do you really think you have to introduce him?
Yes, I will. This is Mr. Bobby Lewis, who is serving as interim principal at Vine Grove Elementary. And then we have Carlina Sheeran, our preschool director, who is also serving as interim principal at Howe Valley Elementary, which will transition to Cecilia Valley Elementary. So is there anyone else here that I have? Oh, yes. Come on, Miss Brittany Nickel. I'm sorry, if we needed to introduce Mr. Lewis, we certainly need to introduce you. Miss Brittany Nichols served as interim principal at East Hardin Middle School last year, and she was selected as the permanent principal of East Hardin Middle School. So we want to welcome all these people, and so everyone in the district knows who these folks are.
Thank you all. Welcome aboard, and I think we just created a new position called Roman principal.
Rover.
He's a rover.
Rover.
We appreciate all of you stepping up to the plate, and there's a lot of good things can happen there if you principals take jobs seriously, and I'm sure you will.
That's right. Did you? I apologize. Sincerely apologize. We also have Mr. Greg Sutton. Go ahead. Come on up here, Mr. Greg Sutton. And this works out perfectly. Mr. Greg Sutton is our new Chief Academic Officer, and he is also, if you look on your agenda, he is also our academic spotlight for this evening.
When I took over the job about 3 weeks ago as Chief Academic Officer, I ran to one of my former Vine Grove students, and they asked me if I was going to be arresting people. And I said, I'm not that kind of officer. They really thought that's what I was going to do. I said, no, I'm still in education. They thought I'd switched total careers there. Ms. Morgan just asked that I share what's been going on in my first 3 weeks on the position. I wanted to write some names down here so I didn't mess anything up, so I'm going to read these to you. I just want to thank these people. Jennifer Burnham, our Director of Title I and Professional Development, Carlina Sharon, our Director of Early Childhood Preschool, John Thomas, our Director of Secondary Schools, Stacy Braun, our Director of Elementary Schools, Linda Reed, our Director of Assessment, Leif Tabb, our Director of Technology, Kim Atkins, our Director of Special Education, and Gina Ryan, our Director of Hardin County Educational Community Television. All those directors fall under the Instructional Service Department, and every one of those people has made me feel very welcome. They've answered every question, and they've helped my transition be very smooth. So I want to thank them. It says a lot about Team Hardin County, so thank you all if y'all are out there tonight for helping me make this a positive experience the first 3 weeks. I kind of hit the ground running, got started a little early with Selden Binder over there at the end, get school started, but I kind of cheated and started about a week early on this position. My goal was to get around me with every principal in this district, and having 23 facilities, I was able to accomplish that maybe a day or two before school started. Got around and met with them, Talked about some, some of their goals for the year. What do you see happening in your school? What are some of your instructional strategies you want us to help you with? What are some of the common programs we see across the district? And I think the underlying message I got from the principals was we want to focus on student engagement and we want to have a growth mindset. And I think the mission of this district going forward from this day is to make sure that every student shows their growth and meets their expected growth. And I think we owe that to every child that walks through our doors at Hardin County Schools. And so that's the mission of the Instructional Service Department. All the people that I've named, that's only a few people. But there's so many people that make up this department, and I look forward to working with them. Based on when I left those meetings, I was ready to run through a brick wall and start teaching because I was energized. And I kind of got the feeling of their mission and what we're all about, which is the kids of Hardin County Schools. So it was a great feeling, and I'm glad to be here, and that's kind of where we're at right now. And over the next few months, we're going to be getting into the schools. I think I visited 7 schools today, and my goal is to visit every new teacher in our district, basically to leave them a positive note, let them know that we're glad to have you in Hardin County Schools. This is a great place to live. It's a great place to work. And when Jama Bennett took a chance on me 19 years ago, and hired me as assistant principal, I knew this was a place for me. My children are educated in Hardin County Schools. Vine Grove, James Shelton, now North Hardin High School have a sophomore and a senior, and I wouldn't want to have them anywhere else. So if that's not the best recommendation for our Hardin County Schools, I believe in it, and we're going to continue to grow forward and move forward and be the #1 district in the state. And I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe it. So that's what we're going to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, when you started talking about all those years, I noticed Jama sort of,
That's what she's older than me.
thank you all. Doing a good job.
You did good, Jay.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's her fault that I'm here.
All right, any other recognition of visitors? Anyone sign up to speak or anything? No? Okay. All right, construction updates and a report on projects from Sherman, Carter, and Barnhart. And Kenny's here to lead us into that.
All right, well, I'm going to start with Cecilia Valley. If you had a chance to look at the photos that's in your board packet, 4 weeks makes a big difference. As a matter of fact, things change pretty daily out there right now. So we're seeing a lot of progress. Actually, the back of the building is further along as far as site goes. That's where they've really done a lot of paving,
Really?
sidewalks, and yeah, if you go back there, if you come by and look at the front, it looks like there's still a lot of brickwork going on. That's actually just on the canopy and the tower. The building is completely faced, and as soon as they get done with that tower feature and have the canopy installed, then they'll be done. Brickwork will be finished. Inside the building, finishes have started. There's a lot of base painting going on, the block filler, and then some of the accent paints have started in the rooms. One of the things that we did yesterday, we reviewed. We asked the contractor to do a sample room for the polished concrete in the stain colors that we had picked out. And we said we want this room to represent the quality of the way you're going to do the whole building so that we can review it. The dark gray is our field color. We have a gold and a blue. So we don't have gold and blue in the classroom, so we had them do a stripe that's going to be under the cabinetry. So we wanted a representative of those colors as well. And it did look really good as far as the finish of the concrete and what we expect. There is going to have to be some grinding done out in the hallways. Charlie, if you've been by there, you probably saw how rough some of that is. And we'll take another look at it. They've agreed to grind that down and then go over it with a complete grout coat and then start the polishing pad procedure. But we're going to look at that close and make sure that they're within tolerance. Now, the other parts of the building, it seems to be in pretty good shape. It just was concentrated on that one end.
A little rough.
It was a little rough. Not the worst I've seen, but still, we want it to be right, and so we'll stay on top of that.
Won't be able to shoot marbles on that floor. No kids know what marbles are.
Another good thing is the roof is on the building, so that's not an issue. The only area that doesn't have a final roof is the Claire story. That has a temporary roof while they're waiting for the metal panels to arrive, because that's the only part of the building that has the bronze metal roof. But they have that dried in on a temporary measure so they can keep going. So all the moisture, the wet areas that were in the building last month, those are not an issue now, and it's a good thing because we need to keep moving and
We're going to be able to see if the roof leaks here in a few minutes.
yeah, that's another good thing. We'll be able to see the roof leaks prior to getting in the building. So, and then tile work has already started in the kitchen. You can see that as well. And so, really making a lot of good progress. So we're pleased with that, and just keeping ahead of like I said, the quality on the concrete and how they're going to have to, grind those down smooth. It's not uncommon. It's just with the fact that we don't get to cover up our concrete, we will make sure that is as good as it can get before they stain that. And so any other questions on Cecilia Valley?
How far behind are we on the date? Are we still a month behind?
Yes, yeah, they're still. I believe that they'll definitely get their temporary in October, but they're not gonna, it's not gonna be a final. So they're still running about the same behind that they were.
October 23rd is still a substantial completion date.
Yes.
Which would make November 23rd the final completion date.
November 23rd.
Yes, sir.
That'd be about the day the blower goes out at Howe Valley.
Say again?
That'd be about the day the blower goes out at
We'd
Howe
like
Valley.
it to be in January at some time. Get on through December if we can.
So that's
Sounds good.
schedule-wise, that's where we are. Just briefly on North Hardin, later in your agenda, you have some change orders, which are credit change orders that will, with your approval, that'll let us move closer to closing that project out. And then at Radcliffe, if you had a chance to look at those photos, the brick mason has went in and cut out all of the infill and is reflashing, putting in the damp proofing. But one of the things that was kind of a little alarming is the three photos there in the front. That's area of the building that was not part of the project, but we had them go ahead and cut out past the infill. And what that showed is that there is a lot of voids in the original wall. Now we're having them go ahead and fill those voids, but I'm not really 100% sure that we weren't getting some issues from that area as well. So we've just went lintel to lintel, that whole area, so that when they go back, they're taking care of all the voids. So if you saw those photographs, that's not, the last photograph is the only photograph that was part of our project where the blocks are smooth and there's no voids in them. But right to the left and to the right of that area, that's where all those voids were. So they've agreed to go ahead and take care of that as well. So we think that should, seal those areas up. Everything that they've uncovered should be sealed for good. I see, Kay, are you looking at that?
That's a renovation for you.
Well, and that was part of the building we didn't touch.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Don't tell them what else is there that we don't know about.
But we feel good that they are taking extreme care and putting that back in place with all the precautions, all of the flashings to seal that up. So we just need some more rain, and then we can
Get it
get
down.
it. So that is my report. If you have any questions about anything, or if you have any questions later in the agenda, I'll be around.
See, we had one question that
The door.
the hardware on,
Cecilia Valley.
yeah, that was a $7,000 change order on some door hardware.
It is. There's and it's a number of items that some of them were scope changes. After we had our hardware meeting, they decided to change some of the way the locking mechanisms work for the resource rooms, and so there was some scope changes. There was an add hardware for a lock set that was not in the bid specs, and I'm going to tell you what that was about. If you remember the gate that we're putting in at the bottom of the grand staircase, that gate keeps you from going upstairs when they don't want you to. when you have a ball game, or, you know, you don't want to be able to have kids up on the balcony, you know, so. Instead of having a pair of doors there in that big open space, it was decided we would come up with a gate. You can't buy that, you have to invent it, so it was a custom gate. Well, there's no door frame around it, but yet it had to act like an egress door with panic hardware and everything on it, because the code won't allow us to trap someone that got upstairs. You know, they could climb the fence, and you got to provide a door hardware that allows them to get out if they need to. When our hardware consultant looked at that, what we would have normally done is just put an allowance in there, because it had to be custom as well. And she couldn't design the hardware for it until she received the fabrication drawings for the gate. Well, that doesn't come till much later after the project bids. What we would have normally done is put an allowance in there, which would have covered the cost of that hardware that we didn't bid. KDE will no longer let us do that. They call them hidden allowances. So the only allowance they will allow now is for brick. Now, the only thing that I should have relayed that information to John, so that he would have known that, you know, we're going to have about a $3,500 cost down the road to cover that hardware that you haven't purchased yet. And so that's what the other half of that is for. You know, I would love to say that gate should have been something simple, but it was a very complicated thing to make work, like a pair of egress doors. You're going to be, you won't believe, this looks simple, you know, when it's all said and done, but it was a completely custom item. And so that's why that added hardware cost is in there.
Okay.
Well, the first ad you were talking about, now what was that?
It's a number of items where for security, some of the doors are going to receive security locks that they originally did not have, like the resource rooms. They changed the way they wanted to lock those,
Okay.
and it required some changes to hardware.
Today.
The staff, David, and we had a meeting for just hardware, because there's only 2 hardware consultants in Kentucky, and you know, we use both of them, just whoever's available.
Yeah.
So they met with a hardware consultant and spent 4 hours just combing every door in the building. But then later decided that they wanted to make some changes to that. I wish I could tell you in detail, but I wasn't
But those
part of that.
were changes we requested.
Correct. But that's not the whole cost, that $7,700. Half of that is the hardware set for the gate that I was telling you about, right? And if there's any good news, we're still $9,816 less right now than we were on bid day. So we still have credit change orders. We're still less than we started. And that's if you approve the change order tonight. We're still almost 10 grand under.
Don't guarantee the rest of it to keep.
Well, we're getting awful far, Charlie.
Getting close.
Shouldn't be anything big.
Getting close.
Is that answer
That's
that?
what I questioned that earlier, and
If we ever do another gate like that, it should be easier next time. We know all the ins and outs.
put a chain, a combination, and lock on it, and tell everybody what the combination is.
You know, that was one of the earlier.
I have a
Yeah,
quick
yeah.
question. The last meeting you mentioned that the insulation in North Hardin's gym was all fixed, but the paint had run down the wall. Did we get that taken care of?
I know you met with Rick
That is
Clausen.
not corrected at this time.
There's still a couple areas where contractor thinks the paint runs were there and we think differently.
We have been in
So-
contact with GMC, the installers of the HVAC. They've been down once to do some things that did not correct the problem. So we are highly encouraging them to give us a timetable on when they will be returning to do additional work.
And that
Thank you.
really should be the last issue. Like I said, the change orders for the credits are on tonight's agenda. And then when we get that squared away, we should be able to finish the closeout documents.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kenny.
I think I've asked this question probably a dozen times already. Are we done with North Hardin?
And I think I've answered a few. And you're not going to like my answer. The answer is no. A building that big, we're always going to have some maintenance issues with it. I think there's part of the roof that didn't go through one of the 7 phases of renovation, so there are still things that need to be done at North. Now, I would say we're 95% done with North Hardin for now, but as the building continues to age, there will be things that need to be addressed.
Well, but I'm talking about as far as these construction phases. Are we done with them?
Yeah, it's still on the district facility plan, I believe, to do a few things, but for the most part, the north looks fantastic.
Well, yeah, I know that. I'm thinking about having a open house or ribbon cutting or something to show it off.
Sure, and I would agree. It really looks nice.
Just want to make sure it's done.
It'll be time to start over.
That'd be
I know
time
by
to
the
start
time that
over.
happens, yeah.
Those
Okay.
look good.
Ribbon cutting for ending and a other end of the cutting for beginning.
No.
Good
Okay.
evening. I'll be brief. I've got 2 projects, the bus garage access road and the sidewalk improvements at Central Hardin High School. The projects are complete. The closeout documents have been submitted to KDE, and we're pending KDE approval before they get presented to you all. So hopefully next month, we'll have the closeout documents for that project.
Mike has done something that I don't think anybody else has been able to do in this school district, and that's grow grass.
Is that right?
It says so right here.
He's been
Takes a
very
long-
lucky
It takes a
this
long
year.
time to get those words on that little letter. And then, on a side note, the playground at New Holland should be complete tomorrow.
Excellent.
Any questions? There's no grass out there, so that will be wrapped up.
All right.
What can you
Thank you,
say?
Mike.
Good job.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
And Rob is not going to be here tonight, but he gave us a noon report, so we're still looking at various sites and so forth for a possible new school facility, and I think Central Hardin was pretty much complete over there.
John Hardin.
Or
It's moving
John,
along very
yeah.
nicely. You go to the front entrance now, you will be met by that set of doors, so they now have a secure vestibule, and they match the metal up very well. It looks like it's always been there, so
Yes.
progress
Great.
is just moving well. The sidewalls are going up on the soccer locker room area, and they'll be moving to baseball and track very soon.
Anyone have anything they want to pull out there and talk about or discuss? If not, I guess we need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. It's pretty much like all other consent agendas. I don't think anything is in here that's not normal, except we're going to declare 2 Dynatron Solaris
Yep.
plus 709s for surplus, so I'm sure everyone knows what they are.
Go tell them.
I don't know if I remember or not. It's some kind of medical equipment that
For the
we
sports
don't use
medicine
anymore
program, I think.
in EC3, and they think that there's some residual value in it that we can get out of it, so we need to get rid of it soon. All right. Voting, Ms. Sharon?
Oh, I forgot we had a motion.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Ms. Palmer?
Aye.
And Mr. Kenny?
Aye.
Motion carries. And that takes us down to action items. I don't assume we don't have anything on there for...
No, sir.
And new business? Anyone have any new business that needs to be put before us tonight? All right.
I do have a question. Were you going to talk a little bit about the opening of school and how things are going?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we
That's under your report, I guess.
Yes.
have the superintendent's report coming up, and I attended a dinner with her the other day. She graduated in a rather large class of superintendents. I don't know who's changing the most, superintendents or principals, after attending that graduation ceremony, but she's a certified superintendent and doing a good job.
Thank you. To answer Ms. Sharon's questions here, we actually started our school year with an opening day celebration with Mr. Ron Clark from the Ron Clark Academy. Many of you may have seen the movie starring Matthew Perry. He was also the Teacher of the Year award. So I received numerous compliments from classified staff, certified staff, just an overwhelming response. North Hardin, John Hardin, and Central Hardin bands were at each of the entrances, so we really appreciate all their hard work. But a ton of hard work went into that with our central office folks and back here with Diana and John and all those people who contributed. Also, we had tremendous support and are very appreciative to our community because we had door prizes to give away, and Mr. Wright made a thank you for each of those, so that ran the entire morning part of the session until Mr. Clark started his presentation. But not a single person complained to me, except for maybe the bleachers were a little hard. So if we could just provide cushioned seats, it'd been all the better. But it was a phenomenal day. We have had a very successful first week of school. This is our first weekend. We currently have 14,154 students as of today. That is within 42 students of Mr. Reed's projection. So
Wow.
I don't know that we could get closer. I think actually if I based it on yesterday, it would have been probably within 2 or 3 students of projection on day 5. So
Good
that's
job, Mr. Reed.
now with that, some of those locations have changed from place to place. They're not all at the schools we expected them to be, and sort of showed up in different locations. So, Mr. Lewis, I'm not sure how.
Well, either I taught him well, or he's much better at it than I was.
So, but we do want to welcome everyone to a great school year, and thank all of our parents for the great communication of letting us know where your students were going those first days of school. That made the bus routes much easier and led to that success, and especially all the transportation department. Transporting the number of students we do, the number of miles we do each day is a huge feat, and so we greatly appreciate all the work that went into that. So at our elementary schools, we had all the bus drivers to come in so they could meet the students and the parents, and that turned out to be a huge success. So, Mr. Stiff.
And we didn't lose anybody.
We did not. We may have delayed getting a few home here and there, but I think one of those was at the high school level, so we'll work on that. So, one of the things, our hashtag this year is HCS, leading the way, and again, Ramona did that, but want to thank, we had over 700 people to vote in that, so we appreciate that. So that has received a lot of recognition. This year, as Mr. Sutton pointed out, our mission, and hopefully we will be working toward adding this to our mission, is challenge the principals to know the name and need of every student and act accordingly. So if your student comes in above grade level, we want to make sure we are getting them advanced courses that they need, and if they are in need of additional assistance, they are doing that. So we want to go past just knowing their name, but Mr. Clark on the opening day talked about the need to develop relationships. So all of our schools develop a 30, 60, 90-day plan to make sure they know the name and need of the students, and so that we can move forth that, because that is what we're about, is students. So that is it.
Very good. Off to a good start.
Excellent.
And we are going to have an executive session here tonight.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes. I know everyone has not heard anything about this, and I'm sorry to add to this, but it's very exciting. We have a solar eclipse happening on Monday. I know. Monday, August 21st, 2017. I've seen several T-shirts. The Louisville Slugger has a special bat for that. If you're brave enough, you may, and I believe Miss Sharon is doing this.
No, I've decided not to.
To go to Hopkinsville, Kentucky, to see the total eclipse. In Hardin County, we are having a partial eclipse, so it will never be greater than 96%. So what we have shared with our schools is that at no time during this eclipse is it safe to be looking at the sun or the eclipse without the proper eyewear. So each of our students, faculty, and staff throughout Hardin County, thanks to Western Kentucky, who has given us over 16,000 viewers. But we did want to make it a little safer for our students, and so they are creating some type of additional mask to the viewers for our students to have. Tomorrow is the last day for parents to fill out an educational enhancement day. Some of our parents may want to take their students out of school for this event, and we just ask that you complete that educational enhancement day. Our elementary schools, because NASA has indicated to us the 15 minutes before the 96% eclipse and 15 minutes after that is the most significant part of it that could also lead people to believe that it's safe to look without the viewers, and it is not. At no time are we allowing the students to view without this. Our teachers are going over those procedures with the students each of those days. So we ask that if you're not in school that day, that you still continue to be safe and make sure to realize that you cannot look at the sun at any time or the eclipse without the proper equipment, at least not in this area. So it is going to be a very historical day. As I understand, it's not going to happen again for approximately 5 lifetimes. So it seems to be a really important day. So we're looking forward to it. A lot of our teachers have worked really hard making sure our students understand the significance of this day and how to participate safely. So.
And Mike and Kay even tried to figure out how to keep our animals safe today.
Yes.
So we won't go there.
I said, I'm not letting my dog outside. I don't know what anybody else is.
She does not have the proper viewing equipment for her animals.
God made them smart enough not to look at the sun.
Yes.
All right, I need a motion that we go into executive session.
I move that the board enter into executive session per KRS 61.810 parentheses 1 to discuss appointment, discipline, dismissal of employment or employees, member, or student.
Okay.
And Chairman, they have requested a private hearing, not public.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.